Woo! My goodness, the emotional rapture regarding the halftime shows on Super Bowl Sunday have been astronomically enormous, to say the least. The biggest televised event in America literally has people split once again, but the main people who are truly upset are the advertisers who paid millions of dollars for an ad to be featured during the event, only for millions of viewers to either turn off their televisions or change the channel.
Quick! Change the channel!
In this video, I will share the data of viewership ratings of the Super Bowl game and both halftime shows. This video, as well as this channel, does not intend to attempt to dictate what everyone should like or not like regarding to everyone's specific taste in entertainment and culture. If I have in the past, whether intentional or not, at any point, I do apologize. Smash the like, subscribe, and notification bell buttons to stay up to date with this channel's latest videos every week. And with that said, let's talk. Hey everyone, AO here of 4BZ Entertainment News and Gaming, here to give you the latest updates and newly released viewership rating relating to the Super Bowl Sunday. As people clearly saw, Seattle demolished the Patriots with a final score of 29-13. And to that, I simply ask, what in the world happened? Where were you guys at during this show? Yet despite the sportsmanship on the field, the main source of contention was and is about the halftime shows. In corner one, we have the underdog Turning Point USA with Kid Rock as the headliner in their first ever halftime show, of course, versus corner two, the Super Bowl halftime shows featuring Bad Bunny. I am aware of some of the controversial statements by both artists in the past, but it is not the focus of this video. The viewership numbers are. So let's set the foundation of the contributing factors of these numbers. Samba TV is a television data and analytics company that uses proprietary automatic content recognition technology, or ACR, that is featured in millions of smart TVs to track what viewers watch across linear and streaming platforms. It provides real-time first-party data to advertisers and media companies to measure ad reach, frequency, and audience engagement.
Don't make me light my butt!
The service is only opt-in, meaning the user has to actively enable it during the initial setup through the television's privacy and settings menu, and must agree to the terms of service and privacy policy that's not enabled by default.
Yo, check this out.
This technology is integrated into over 24 different smart TV brands globally, including Sony, TCL, Toshiba, Philips, Panasonic, and Hisense. And according to their Twitter X account, on February 9th, that their latest viewership insights revealed that 49 million US households tuned in to the Super Bowl 60, representing a 13% decrease from last year's game, and only 27 million US households watched Bad Bunny's halftime show performance, a 39% decrease from Kendrick Lamar's 2025 show. So one would ask a very good and valid question: where did the near 40% of viewers go? Which one could conclude either two scenarios: either they went to watch Turning Point USA's halftime show, or they didn't even bother turning in to begin with. According to NBC Universal, along with Nielsen, Super Bowl 60 set an all-time media record of 138 million viewers that watched the second quarter going into halftime. However, they go on to confirm that this was the highest peak in US TV history.
Get a load of this. Oh my goodness!
Samba TV once again reported this chart right here of the Super Bowl 60 event in its entirety of its viewership. As you can clearly see, just a few minutes before the halftime show began, around 8:15 p.m., there was a sharp decline of approximately 10 million viewers, only for it to steadily climb back after the show. And when I first saw this, my mouth dropped. Plus, When taken into account that U.S. households that had the halftime show on, not every eye was potentially on the screen. You know, when people want to go out, get something to eat, they're chopping it up with their friends and family, speculating the outcome of the game, or talking trash towards the other team. They're outraged, they're excited, some even staring at the phone being a grump. People stepping outside for a smoke and laugh, while others taking a gigantic dump. All in all, viewership looks more like this. 128 million US households, which in fact is lower than last year's performer Kendrick Lamar, reigning still with a record of all time at 134 million US households. So I only wonder what is going on in the mind of CEO of the NFL, Robert Goodell, when he was captured watching the Jumbotron during Bad Bunny's performance.
Come on, Robert, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. I know you there in hiding. Call me back. Don't you walk away from this answer machine.
Now let's flip over to Turning Point USA's halftime show with the reported 6.17 concurrent viewers during its live stream from their YouTube channel. Side note, a concurrent viewer is a unique user actively watching a live stream or media content at the exact same time, which is critical for assessing audience size and peak popularity. The event was live streamed on multiple platforms including Rumble, Trinity Broadcasting Network, Daily Wire Plus, One America News Network, and the National Desk, plus several other YouTube channels live streaming the event such as Magnolia News, Charlie Kirk's channel, and the Officer Tatum's channel. However, remember when I said earlier that the NFL lost 10 million viewers when their halftime began? Turns out that 10 million were tuned in for the live stream across all platforms, except for Twitter X that was canceled due to quote-unquote licensing restrictions. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. Spokesperson of the event, Andrew Colvett, reports 25 million total views across all platforms that either live streamed or featured Turning Point USA's event. And during an interview on News Nation, he estimates viewership around 50 million, but they are still working on those final analytics from a third party Turning Point is working with later this week or next week, which signals to me that we are seeing the intention of Turning Point was not to beat the Super Bowl halftime show, but to make a statement to the industry. In other words, there is now, for the first time in televised history, a competing halftime show that's going to be an annual event. But looking at this in a general sense is that in actuality, Turning Point USA's halftime event is the winner in my perceptual observation and opinion. Consider the following. The Super Bowl has had its 60th annual event and has seen its highs and lows throughout the decades. With that data alone, investors and advertisers have more than enough reference to gauge potential customers of which they can entice to buy in droves. But with Turning Point's event, it was their very first ever, and they just needed to see if people would give them a shot featuring Kid Rock as the headliner. Which is why I stated before, the main group of people who are extremely salty right now are the investors, not the right or conservatives, Christians, MAGA, or even the prejudiced and biased people. The advertisers. It is the advertisers. I will keep on saying it until I'm blue in the face. But here's where I take offense, is this right here. When the NFL has this floating around social media, having people believing in false information. When someone who has such a successful career as Bad Bunny, you don't need to falsely claim numbers to attempt to hype people. This is leading them astray from what's actually going on, and I primarily blame the NFL and Roc Nation for being negligent to the culture of Puerto Rico and this fallout, which we are seeing the consequences happening now with Bad Bunny deleting all of his posts on Instagram right after the event, plus talks of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, looking into a potential investigation of Bad Bunny's lyrics that were spoken on national television. But that's for another video for another time. So if you have reached to the end of this video, in the comments down below, how do you feel about these final results? Let's converse respectfully, of course. Thank you for your time, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.